Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Could Devin Haney be about to fight Blair the Flair Cobb on BLK Prime? Now, you got to take shit with a grain of salt that you get off social media, get off the internet. But I came across something. Oh, Blair the Flair. You know that guy never stops talking. But anyway, looks like Blair the Flair was saying, like he's no longer out here calling fighters out. He's got something could be in the works for March. And I'm like, Blair the Flair coming back? And then I'm like, well, Devin Haney's supposed to be back in March. He just announced he's back in March on BLK Prime. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, right? Could it be that Devin Haney is hooking up with Blair the Flair for his return fight and at 140? Or is it going to be 147? I don't know. But nonetheless, we know that there is, Don King does have a relationship with BLK Prime as well. I'm not saying they're buddies, but I know that they're familiar with each other. And I'm just thinking, how would they spin this fight? Devin Haney never fought Adrian Broner. He should have fought him. I think Devin would have beat him. Blair the Flair came and got the win over AB. We know AB was beyond his prime. That's somebody who did not perform to their potential. That's somebody who dropped the ball, right? Adrian Broner dropped the ball. I don't care about the 4-weight divisions. That's an outstanding accomplishment, but he dropped the ball. But nonetheless, Blair the Flair picked up the ball he dropped, and it looks like he may get an opportunity to fight Devin now. Seeing is believing. So, I don't know if this shit I'm telling you is true or not. But if they were to fight, right, let's just entertain it, right? Because I'm sure Devin will come out, his dad or somebody will announce who he's fighting. But if it happens to be Blair the Flair, I'm telling you right now, I don't think Devin Haney beats him. Now, anyone who follows the channel for the last couple of years know that I've always talked highly of Blair the Flair Cobb. I think he's the best. I think he's the pound-for-pound great. But understand this. Blair the Flair can fight. Whether y'all like him or not, he's unorthodox. He's got speed. He's got freakish power. Blair the Flair kind of reminds me of Bacoli. And what I mean is, when you hear the sparring stories about Blair the Flair, there are several people, I've talked about this before, who say Blair the Flair is the hardest puncher they've ever been in the ring with. Sparring, and they said from Ennis to Tank to everyone, they sparred everyone. I can't remember who the individual was. I remember watching the video, and when this person said it, my damn jaw hit the ground, and I was like, what? But anyway, you can see, obviously, what he did to Broner, what he did to Maurice Hooker, and what he's done to other fighters. If he hits you, he hurts you. Okay? But I just don't think Devin should mess with Blair the Flair. Of course, I want to see it. I just think Devin loses. I do. I don't think Devin can handle Blair the Flair Cobb. He's trying to make adjustments, and maybe if he took the fight, he thinks this will be the kind of fight where he can practice his defense and just all the things he's worked on now that he has Nate Jones in his camp and come against Blair the Flair again, who's kind of unorthodox and wild, and Devin can really look great. But I just don't think you go into a fight with Blair Cobb to show off the things you've worked on. Like, I just don't think you go in there treating it like a glorified sparring session, because Blair the Flair will tranquilize you. And a guy like Devin, who I'm not sure his confidence is back yet, but I do think taking on someone like Blair the Flair with a name like that, where he's not a nobody, but he's not, quote unquote elite. But it could be a good springboard type fight for him to try to get back his confidence, get back to the top of that pound for pound great list. But that being said, I just don't think Devin. I don't think Devin beats him. I think Blair knows. I think everyone knows. If you hit Devin, you hurt him. And Blair is big. He's strong. Got reach. And I think he'll get there on Devin. But then again, Devin, we know what he can do when he stays behind that jab and he fights smart. It's damn near impossible to get to him. But again, who has he been able to do that to? What kind of fighters has he been able to control? Smaller fighters. Against Blair the Flair, he may not have that kind of success. Anyway, trust me, if that fight gets announced, that shit's gonna be must-see TV. Because Blair the Flair is gonna come in at guns blazing, and he's gonna go after Devin. And that's one thing I think Devin needs to understand. Anytime he fights from now on, fighters, especially if they got some power, they're coming after him. They're not going to sit back and just kind of wait. They're going to come after him guns blazing, because whether we want to admit it or not, Ryan Garcia beat a pound of flesh out of Devin Haney. He beat a pound of flesh out of him. And I'm not saying I'm not giving Ryan Garcia credit. Like I'm not lauding Ryan Garcia. I'm just stating the facts. He beat a pound of flesh out of him. And I do think it's unfair what happened to Devin Haney. Now, I'm not here to go back and forth on this Ryan Devin bullshit, but what I will say is, if Devin was my son, because I'll be 50, I'm old enough to be that dude's father, right? If that was my son in that ring, boxing and loses, yeah, I'll always be pissed off if my son loses, but you lose fair and square, you lose fair and square. But I would always be pissed, but because that's my blood, right? But if that was my son, and then I found out he lost, and the way he to a guy who was tested positive for something, and to see how he was getting hurt around that ring and kept getting up and going down, getting up, right? I ain't gonna lie, I'd be pissed. And when I watched Devin, I I think it's unfortunate that some of his future wins, Ryan Garcia took those from him by taking a pound of flesh out of him, possibly affecting his punch resistance, affecting his confidence, and his find a way to win mentality. But we're going to see what happens in Devin's next fight and the subsequent fights, if he still has it. But we'll know immediately in this next fight, especially depending on who he's fighting, if he still got it. We'll know. It always shows up in the ring when fighters no longer able to pull the trigger. It always shows up. I just hope it doesn't for Devin, because he's going to need it. All that confidence he had, all that speed, all that all the risk he was willing to take to get his right hand off. Let me tell you something. He's going to need all that shit to shoot the uppercut. He's going to need to have it if he's facing Blair Cobb. Because if he gets in a gun shy, let me tell you something. Ryan Garcia didn't get the knockout against Devin, but Blair the Flair Cobb will. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Don't know if the rumor is true or not, but let's just sit back and see what happens in the breeze.